When it comes to Demon Slayer and ranking the characters, it's kinda tricky and it actually needs a bit of brainstorming. The first wall I ran into was how long should the list be? And that was the most important question that I asked myself when I was planning to make this video. And I also asked myself, how do I make a video of the strongest list and not only make sure that the list isn't too, saturated, but also to make sure that some characters that are beloved by fans do not miss out. Hopefully this video will satisfy everyone, because if you already can tell, we do not have just 10 nor 20, but a whopping top 30 list. That's right, we're gonna get into it and this is gonna be fun. That being said, intro out of the way, let's just get into it. Coming in at number 30, we have Susanoo. I feel like this is one character that had such potential. Honestly, her combined with Yahaba, they had such a very beautiful and unique demon arts. But nonetheless, she was bodied by Tanjiro when he was, a nobody. But she was not defeated, so thanks a lot, Musa. At 29, we have Lady Tamayo. Even though Lady Tamayo played such a crucial role in not only turning Nezuko back into a human, without her help, there was no way that the Demon Slayers could have taken Muzan down. She was, without a doubt, the mastermind behind the anti-Kibasuchi drug, but the main reason she's this low is because of, one, the monsters that are, on this list, and two, when it comes to 1v1 battle, we never really saw her in action. I mean, the most we got was, her attacking Muzan. So yeah, she's definitely not someone who is in combat a lot. At number 28, I have the ultimate simp himself. And no, I'm not talking about Senescer. I'm talking about Yushiro. Yushiro was definitely a character who went under the radar for most of the series until the final arc. And boy, did he contribute to that arc. I mean, where do we even start? First of all, he saved Senescer. And then he took out the Vivo Demon. Not even taking her out, he controlled her, essentially granting him power over the Infinity Castle. And we know just how much powerful that Infinity Castle was. And he also came up with those stacks that made people invisible. But just like Lady Tamayo, however, we have not seen him take on anyone in a 1v1 battle. Hence why he's so low, even though he is such an important character. Number 27, I have the B1 Demon. Now this one is very tricky to scale, because if the battle is inside the Infinity Castle, then you're not just getting to her. I'm sorry, but you just are not gonna take her out. She took on both Misuri and Obanai, and they couldn't lay a single hand on her. But if you remove her from the Infinity Castle, then she's toast. But that being said, I feel like 27 is kind of fair. Next up at 26, we have Daki. This is by herself. A lot of people often forget the fact that without Kyoto, Daki is not strong at all. Like, she is almost fodder. But the two infused, of course, together, they are very powerful. And as Musa revealed to us, the one that actually was the holder of the rank of Upper Moon 6 was Kyoto indeed. And the fact that she kind of has her childish tendencies, that gets the best of her many times. But if Kyoto was alone, he definitely would have been way stronger. To give her credit, she was very cool indeed. And I am very impressed with her so far in season 2 of Demon Slayer. At number 25, I have the insect pillar, Shinobu Kocho, the genius scientist who, without a doubt, the roles that she played in the final arc cannot be undermined at all. She not only played a crucial role in the development of the anti-Kibasuchi drug, who, by the way, she kind of worked alongside Lady Tamayo, but she also was the one who helped, obviously, defeat Abramuntu Doma. And we know, like, if Doma survived in that battle, let's just say things would have been very ugly real quick. So she was able to kind of finesse her way into manipulating him, and of course, as we know, he consumes her, and a little later he is defeated. But that being said, Shinobu, without a doubt, she's very smart. When it comes to 1v1 battles, she's kind of a hit or miss, especially when you compare her to like people down the list. Next up at 24, we have Kaigoku. Now, the problem with Kaigoku is, first, he did not have enough time to master the insane powers he had received as he had become a demon. And two, he let his pride take over and thought just because he was a demon, he had the rights to be the owner of Abramu 6. Before this event, the Abramus had not been changed for over 113 years. He was just a villain, like Senescer said. But of course, that all said, he showed tremendous powers for someone who still was not fully mastered their demon abilities. His thunder breathing were really nice. And honestly, his fight with Senescer, even though very short, I really loved it because it had carried a lot of weights over it to things that happened in the story. Especially, it can completed Senescer's character in the story. Next up at number 23, I have Enosuke. Now this might be a little controversial, as if you look in the story, Enosuke alongside Tanjiro and Senescer inspire each other, push each other to grow stronger and stronger with every fight, and he was without a doubt a character that has gotten insanely strong because of this friendship that he had with the others. But we never really gotten a fight that was him and a very strong opponent in a 1v1 battle, and for that reason I cannot sadly put him any higher. Even though his fight with Doma carried a lot of emotions, I was missing kind of seeing Enosuke in a 1v1 battle, just like Musa, Senescer with Kaigoku. But nonetheless, he without a doubt alongside Tanjiro and Senescer grew mesmerically in the story. Next up at 22, we have the second of the trios, and that is none other than the savvy boy himself, Senescer Akasuma. Senescer's growth in the story is the most beautiful growth we have seen a character go through so far, and to see that he went from a timid and shy boy to this absolute Chad at the end of the series, when it comes to fighting and not being afraid, is something that is very underrated. I always used to keep Senescer and Enosuke in the same level until what happened with Kaigoku happened. That event without a doubt kinda, wrapped up Senescer's character and growth and gave him a meaning to why we should love this character. And this is something that has to be credited to Kyoto. All the kids that started the journey with Tanjiro, they do not get left behind. For example, in Naruto, characters like Rock Lee and characters like Shikamaru in the Shippuden series, especially towards the end game and the final war, they are almost entirely useless. Whereas in Demon Slayer, all those kids that started, the same journey with Tanjiro, they were important until the final, part. Next up at 21, we have Canal. Canal was a character who throughout the entire story had been clinging on to the side of Shinobu, but in the final arc, we saw just how strong she was, and her feats are mesmeric. Taking on Upper Moon to Doma by herself for a while, to the point where he says that, she is stronger than Shinobu. And of course, who can forget her insanely impressive and overpowered kinetic technique, the Vermilion Eyes, which grants her the ability to literally predict the future of her opponents, because the Vermilion Eyes picks up on the smallest jitters of the muscle and movements. She lived up to the wishes of her older sisters, and eventually, of course, with the help of Enosuke, avenged them both. But let's not forget, in that battle, Enosuke was kind of playing a support role to Canal. Canal was actually the one that was, calling all the shots, if you could say. Breaking into the top 20, at number 20 we have Upper Moon 6 himself, Kyoto. Kyoto was really impressive in his fight against Tengen, and he was the first Upper Moon in the story that was defeated. Now, as Musa mentioned and as I mentioned earlier, the actual holder of Upper Moon 6 was Kyoto all along, and not the two together. Also, Musa said that he was a fan of the way that Kyoto handled things. He was a very bloodlust, cold killer, but his connection with Daki was something that could be picked up on, and a weakness, and eventually that was used to defeat him. But nonetheless, Kyoto is indeed a monster. Coming at number 9, we have the one who defeated Kyoto, and that is none other than the Flamepoint Hashira himself, Tengen Uzui. I've been really impressed with him, especially because of him being in season 2 of Demon Slayer. And maybe it's because he is fucking shit up right now in the new season or something, but nonetheless, the strength of this ninja is not something to be looked down upon. When he defeated Upper Moon 6, we finally, as an audience, and also the characters in the series, such as Tanjiro, really had hope that we can actually do it. We can actually go toe to toe with an Upper Moon and come out victorious. So that was something completely new. At number 8, I have none other than the main character's sister, and without a doubt, the most adorable character in the entire series, Nezuko. Now, don't let her appearance lie to you and fool you. If you're a demon and you are in her way, you're basically toast. Nezuko's growth in the story is very underrated, especially the more she fought, stronger demons, i.e. the upper ranks, the stronger she had gotten in the story. She was, also the first demon to conquer the sun, making her even stronger than Musan himself, because, Musan just, couldn't figure out how to beat the sun. But nonetheless, it's a shame that she did not participate in the final battle and arc against Musan, because if she had done, then she would not only have done some damage, but she would get a new power up as well, because everybody got a new power up in that last arc. Number 17, we have Upper Moon 5, Kyoko. Kyoko is definitely the least respected Upper Moon amongst all the Upper Moons and feared. But I disagree, and here's why I think you guys should respect him as well. Even though he got, bodied by a 14-year-old. First things first, he held the title of Upper Moon 5th for over 113 years, if not more. And as we know, to hold the rank of Upper Moon, you have to defeat an Upper Moon first. So we have every right to assume that Kyoko defeated the former Upper Moon 5 to take up the spot. Either that or he became an Upper Moon because, he is Musan's favorite demon. man. Next up at number 16, we have the love pillar Misuri Kanrochi. Misuri, because of her cheery and happy personality, I feel like a lot of people look down on her, but what she has done in the story speaks for itself. Taking a direct hit from Upper Moon's force most powerful form head on, and not only not getting damaged, but then going on the offense and being the first of two to unlock the Demon Slayer's mark before everyone else. She is such an underrated Hashira. She held down Upper Moon 4's strongest form by herself, and I think that has to mean something, even if she was primarily useless in the final arc. At 15, I have Upper Moon 4 Hantenku, and of course I mean him and all his forms. They were really impressive, man, and my only complaint was that I wish we had gotten them in an entire arc by themselves. But I can see the reason they chose to pair Upper Moon 4 and Upper Moon 5 to be in one arc, and that is because they are both very boring demons, especially when you compare them to demons like Akasa, Doma, Kokushibo, and even Daki and Kyoto. Those demons had malice and were normal looking, but Upper Moon 4 and 5th just look weird, especially in their basic first forms. But nonetheless, Hantenku and his 4 different forms were breathtaking to see, especially his final form, who was way cooler than the original owner of the rank, Hantenku. Next up at 14, I have Kaigoku, the former flower pillar of the Demon Slayer Corps. And the main reason I have her so high is because, we know that she fought against Doma. And the interesting thing that maybe, you guys forgot or saw was the fact that Kanai was fighting this man Doma for a very long time. Now, I interpreted the facts in 2 ways. 1, she actually did manage to hold till the sunrise. Or 2, he was playing with her, and then at the end, after landing the final blow, he saw that the sun was coming out, so he had no other choice but to run away. But I like to think the former of the two. And if that would be true, then she was a monster who very much deserves her place in the ranking, managing to not getting devoured by Doma, who we know for sure is a glutton, especially when it comes to women, particularly women who are Hashira. I say that is a very impressive feat indeed. Coming in at lucky number 13, I have the flame pillar Kyoto Rengoku, someone without a doubt who helped shape the rest of the story and who had a massive impact in not only us as an audience, but also the characters in the story, especially our main character Tanjiro. You could say he almost shaped Tanjiro's growth in the story. His fight versus Akasa by himself was a sight to behold. His death was without a doubt something that got me hooked on the story, because before his death we did not really get a death that had meaning in the story. Yeah, we saw Tanjiro's family get devoured, but we didn't even know Tanjiro's family like that, if that makes sense. But with Kyoto, that goes all out of the window. This great warrior and his strong morale to do what's right and stand on his feet till the final moment of his life is something that we have to respect. Also, the dude literally held down Akasa with his bare hands, to the point where Akasa literally had to separate his hands and cut them off. All the while, Kyoto was impaled in the chest. Next up at number 12, we have Kenya. Now, a lot of people might be surprised as to why I have this character seriously this high. And the reason has to do with him. Yes, Kenya. You see, Kenya is a special character. He is the only character for who, whatever reason, is fully human and still can become a demon. Pair that up with this broken Nichiren blade that is basically a double-barrel shotgun, and you have a monster. He played a major role in, the defeat of both Upper Moon 4 and Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo, sacrificing his life and himself in the process. His overpowered attack that made Kokushibo into a tree was without a doubt the main reasoning in which that led to his defeat. I think it's time we start putting respect on this young man's name. At number 11, just outside the top 10, we have the Prodigy, the genius, and most importantly, the only character in the series who has defeated an Upper Moon, a legitimate Upper Moon by himself, Michiro Tokito, the Mist Pillar. Now, like I said earlier, many people like to clown on Kyoto for whatever reason, but you cannot take away the fact that he defeated him from this Prodigy. He became a Hashira at the young age of just 12 years old and rose to the rank of Hashira within a mere 2 months of becoming a Demon Slayer. Actually, of picking up a sword. One of the two characters who has achieved this. If you're wondering who the other character is, that is Kyome. This young man sacrificed in the Battle of Kokushibo, and to have the balls he has, knowing very well that if they do not defeat Upper Moon 1 right there and then, it would only get worse for the Demon Slayers, and all the sacrifices that led up to that point would be of to no avail. He does the hardest thing to do, which was come to the conclusion of sacrificing himself. Alright, time for top 10. Now things are getting scary. Cracking into the top 10, barely edging Michiro, we have the Wada Hashira Kyoto Myoka. Now, if you do not follow me on TikTok, this is a character that I have disrespected multiple times. By disrespect, I mean he is a character who has a cult-like following. Rightfully so, and they hype the character up to the point where some claim wholeheartedly that he is the strongest Hashira. Nonetheless, the reason why I have changed my mind and made Kyu stronger than Michiro is going back in the manga and seeing this character be so clutch, especially in the final fight against Musan. I had to give him the number 10. His feats that honestly aged Michiro for me in becoming number 10 were: 1. He was able to save when he saved that Kakashi member who was almost turned into a kebab from Demon King Tanjiro, and 2. Even with one arm, he still carried on in the fight against Musan and did not give up. Not to mention the fact that he has had a massive impact on our main character, not only setting him on the path to become a demon slayer, but also believing and taking a chance on the Kamado siblings. Whereas if any other Hashira literally were in his boots at the time, they would have easily, without a doubt, without a second thought, cut Nezuko's head right there and then. Next up at number 9, I have the Serbian villain himself, Obanai Ikuro. Probably one of the most caring and compassionate character on the inside, and on the outside, a character that appears to come off as an asshole. Now I can talk for literally 20 minutes of why I think this is by far the most underrated Hashira and possibly character in the entire series. But for the sake of the video, let me tell you guys briefly about why I have this Hashira at number 9. In the fight against Musan, when all the Hashiras were seemingly out of the fight, one of the only ones remaining and that stood up and together with Tanjiro was Obanai. Obanai even saved Tanjiro multiple times, and after his hate for Musan runs so deep that he starts to burn up, and right there and then in the final battle for a brief moment went into the transparent world. Not a lot of characters can get into this world, by the way, but without a doubt the reason why he is so high on this list is because of his clutch moments against Musan. Coming in at number 8, I have Sanemi. Now Sanemi and Obanai are characters that are very swappable, but because of him and his fight against Kakushibo, I have to place him just a little higher than Obanai, because in the battle against Kakushibo, with the help he had, if Obanai was in that situation, the outcomes would have been the same. But nonetheless, Sanemi showed not only heart, grit, and determination when it comes to slaying demons, but also the courage to literally defeat demons without a Nichiren blade when he was just a boy. At number 7, I have Abramu 3. Now I used to have Agasa higher than Kiyome on the list. You can look at it from 2 ways. 1, in a 1v1 battle, who would win? And if it was up to me and I had to choose in a 1v1 battle, I have to go for Agasa. Right now, I made a whole video on this subject along, if you are wondering and want to watch. But basically the main reason that I have Agasa at number 7 instead of number 6 is because of when you look at feat wise in the story, Kiyome took on Abramu 1 and he came up victorious, of course with the help of other people, but he played a major role in that battle. And also, who can forget his massive contribution to the last battle against Musan. So yeah, number 6 I have Gyome. At number 5 I have Doma, Abramu 2. If it were not for Shinobu, who literally had to sacrifice her life to take him down, I just don't see how things would have played the way they did. If he defeated Shinobu without getting poisoned, Doma would have immediately went for Musa's direction. In fact, he was literally headed there before the poison had taken effect. And if he had showed up to where Musan was and linked up with him, then things would have become ugly. Coming in at number 4, I have the strongest Abramoon, someone who has been a loyal servant to the Demon King himself for over 500 centuries, and that is none other than Kokushibo Abramoon 1. It took 4 strong demon slayers to take this monster out, and the way he just elegantly, used all his breaths nonchalantly while taking on very strong opponents is that I cannot seriously put into words. And also the fear and the way he carries himself when it comes to the other Abramoons and demons like Agasa, being scared of him, cannot be overlooked. Coming in at number 3, I have the Demon King himself, Musan. Obviously, we know what Musan is about, but if you needed any reminders, he took on literally every single character while heavily poisoned with ease, might I add. And although he got defeated, he took with him almost every Hashira along with him while being heavily poisoned and nerfed, might I repeat. So yeah, I don't have to talk too much about Musan. You guys already know what this monster is like. At number 2, many people will be surprised as to why I have this character at number 2, and that is none other than Demon King Tanjiro. Now, the reason in which why I added him on this list is because of Musan saying that Tanjiro is literally the most perfect creature and proclaiming him to be the Demon King himself. Now, there has been a confusion with people when it comes to this character, and that is some thinking that this is Musan who has transferred his conscious and entire being inside Tanjiro. And to answer that question, it is a resounding no. This is not Musan. This is Tanjiro who has been turned into a demon by Musan. You can see him struggling for a brief moment to conquer the sun, and characters like you were immediately immediately able to, tell that this isn't the Tanjiro. And if it weren't for, his friends and Nezuko being around him, we could have very much likely have witnessed a homicide. Now, for number 1, can you guys guess who it is? We have Yurichi, the godfather of the Demon Slayers, and the one who paved the way and made Musa went into hiding for over 500 centuries so that he does not run into him. Yurichi is such a sad character, man. Imagine yourself being so strong that you literally have no one else to relate to. Also, the fact that he was robbed of his one true happiness in life when his, family were killed by a demon. But nonetheless, he is a monster. I mean, he got Musa from a sub-molecular level to the point where Musa still has not recovered and got back what he has lost from 500 years ago. But yeah, this video was such a fun video to make, and honestly one in which I wanted to make for literally an entire year. But I'm glad I waited for this long, as my knowledge for the series has grown tremendously. Thank you to everyone who has made it this far. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Until next time.